Call this meeting to order. Determine there's a quorum present. Commissioner Nettleton, Commissioner Flores, and myself, we do have a quorum. If y'all will please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, both of them. Commissioner Nettleton, if you don't mind.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank y'all. Before we get started, if y'all don't mind, moment of silence. We had an elected official there at the city, Liz Elizalde de Calderon, passed last week suddenly. This is an individual that was there as a council person when we were going through the pandemic, and then it seemed like she was with us the whole time. She was one of the ones that I talked to and called pretty much on a daily basis. Her, the mayor, and another council member. They were the three that we talked to the most. She was one of them. She was there when we sort of got in trouble because we had the first food distribution at fairgrounds, and then we created a line. And I made some real bad comments, and she agreed. So this individual was one that we worked side by side. I'm not saying that we agreed on everything, but I had a lot of respect for her. So if y'all don't mind, just a moment of silence for her. Thank y'all. 5, approving and amending minutes from previous meetings. Second. Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Citizens' comments, I have one. Ms. Reyes?
Good evening, Lori Reyes. First, I just wanted to thank you for the agenda, having the links so we can actually see online, click on the links and see what the item refers to. Really appreciate that. Secondly, I believe you're going to be discussing the time of the meetings.
We're
That's
going,
on today?
I'm sorry.
Is that today?
Okay.
We can have a discussion.
I can't have a discussion.
Okay, I just wanted to point out, I
I can go
haven't,
to it real quick when you get done.
okay. I
That
have
works.
not been counting attendance, but I've been at almost every county meeting for the last 2 years. And I definitely have seen a difference. Evenings are, today seems to be a bit of an exception. But generally, evenings are much better attended. And I just want you to please keep that in mind.
Okay.
Thank you, that's it.
And we'll go to that one real quick. We're gonna go to item 43 real quick, discussion possible
I
action.
will make a motion to table because the statute requires us to do it at the last meeting, which table until September the 25th.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second. Do I have a second?
I'll second that for discussion.
Second, Commissioner Flores. Bottom line is, we put this item on the agenda. It's usually under Juanita's name. I will make sure that it's under my name, the last meeting of this fiscal year. We cannot set the time and the date until the last meeting of the fiscal year that we are in. That's how come we're being asked to table it. Commissioner?
I'd like to make a comment. I've noticed it definitely in the afternoons, but there's a lot more people in the mornings than the afternoons.
That's not true.
It is true.
It's okay. It's okay.
Should we discuss this? Should we-
Yeah, we tabled it. We have a, yeah, we'll bring it back if you're okay.
Yeah, that's
We'll bring it
fine.
back. Okay. Do you want to keep your second to table it?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a motion by Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. I'm going to skip around a little bit. We had okay. We're going to go to item 18. If y'all don't mind. Discussion possible action on recognizing September as Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month. We have a proclamation, and it's going to be read by Ms. Gleason, not by me, because I couldn't get to it. So, Karen, if you don't mind.
I do not, sir. Honorable Judge, Commissioners, esteemed members of the audience. Whereas, year after year, pediatric cancer interrupts the childhood and seriously limits the potential of thousands of our youth, and whereas pediatric cancer remains the leading cause of disease-related death for children, and whereas many childhood cancers are considered curable, but survival may come at a price, and whereas about 1 in 500 young adults is a childhood cancer survivor, and nearly 2/3 of the survivors later experience significant and chronic health conditions, and whereas research for childhood cancer makes a difference, and your support matters to save the lives of children today and keep them healthy in the future, and whereas Brooks Blossoming Hope for Childhood Cancer Foundation promotes awareness for childhood cancer and helps create a level of empowerment within their community to bring forth changes for the future of children fighting, surviving, and those yet to be diagnosed with pediatric cancers. And whereas during National Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, our nation comes together to remember all those whose lives were cut short by pediatric cancer, to recognize the loved ones who know too well the pain it causes, and to support every child and every family battling cancer each day. Now, therefore, Val Verde County Commissioners Court does hereby proclaim the month of September 2023 as Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month in Val Verde County, passed and signed this 28th day of August 2024.
Thank you, Matt. Is there anybody that'd like to make some comments on that? Are we all good? We're gonna get this thing signed and stamped.
Judge, is that September 2023 or September 2024?
It's gonna be September 24th. It was September 2023 is what's on here, so we'll do 2024. Yes.
Could we get a picture?
Yes. Yes. Come on up. You coming up? Come on up.
Yeah, I wanna go up there, y'all scary. Y'all scary.
Come up here. Come on up. There we go. Come on around. They're gonna walk right up here with you, okay? You wanna hold it? You wanna hold it? There we go. There you go.
Okay, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 more.
Got it? Thank you. Thank you. And we'll get one signed.
Thank you so much.
We'll get one signed.
It's supposed to review. That's all good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep that. We'll get one signed and stamped. All right. Thank you.
1 minute to your public hearing.
Okay. We'll go to item 7, approving monthly reports from elected officials. A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Approving bills for payment. Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton. Second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 9, discussion possible action to approve the auditor's report. A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Yeah, it's, I got right there, right? We're there. Okay, let me do the, here, if you don't mind. We're gonna go to item 13. Make sure I don't. Item 13, tax rate hearing at 6:10. The tax rate hearing is now open. we presented a tax rate of the same tax rate being the .4977. There was some pennies that got moved around within the tax rate for debt service and for road and bridge, but the overall tax rate stayed the same with the .4977. So at this time, the hearing is open. Anybody that would like to comment for or against, and throw rocks or whatever. Is there anybody? Okay. If y'all are okay, then I'm going to go ahead and close the hearing because it was open. Now I'm going to go ahead and close it. For the record, nobody came up, nobody raised their hands, nobody threw nothing. Pretty calm. It is 6:11. Hearing is now closed. And then we have another one at 6:15, so we'll keep track of that. We're going to go to item 10. Nancy, I'm sorry. Or you know what, I'm just kidding. Item 10, discussion possible action on the following budget adjustments. A, county attorney transfer $750 from travel and training.
Second.
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Here we go again, $25,000 to attorney other from available appropriations.
Motion to approve out of contingency.
Second.
We cannot, we don't have enough funds in
Okay.
contingency.
And there's two places, it's contingency and prisoner costs.
Correct, we
And
can
the
do
question-
prisoner
Motion
costs.
to, motion to take it out personal cost.
Second, accept.
Have a
What's
motion.
left in contingency?
$995.
$995?
Yeah.
We've managed to spend it all. Good job.
Well, we managed to spend more than what we put in there, let's put it like that. We have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item C, $12,000 to animal control feed from available appropriations. This would come out of prisoner cost too. We ended up seizing or confiscating, I don't know what the proper terminology is.
Sheriff, can you get us a kind of about how many animals y'all pick up on a monthly basis and stuff like that? I haven't seen a report on it. Dogs, cats, horses, cows, whatever it is.
Yes.
You can just, at least once a month, just kind of what we're doing.
And
Didn't we transfer some money out of here already?
no.
Or we added some money earlier?
We added some money, a little bit, but this one here, because we're having to keep them, I'm not gonna say an extended stay, but they have a certain time in order to go through the process. That will be on Wednesday, at the end of 4:30 Wednesday of next week. If nothing happens, then we can begin the process of getting rid of the animals properly, either through auction or whatever is legally acceptable. But if they go in there and they file an appeal, then this is where this money here is going to
Motion
come
to
in.
approve out of prisoner cost.
Second.
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 11, discussion possible action on certification of revenue.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. David, and you tell me if it's allowable, then we'll have to go do something else. We're having an issue with mountain lion. Could I use animal control? Because if we have to do something where we catch it, we might need more feed or something. I don't know. How much leeway do I have here?
You gonna feed it? I think you've eaten plenty out there.
Do I have enough leeway within item C, or do I go to judge's comments to put out that we had an issue
We
with?
probably should go to judge's comments.
And let's,
But you only have
1 minute.
1 minute.
Yeah, okay, well, we'll move on and then we'll come back. Item 12, discussion possible action on treasury report. We have none, so there's no action to be taken. Item 13, we've already done. And item 14, we're there. Are we close? We can wait 30 seconds, because I'm not gonna be that quick on something else. We'll wait a little, there we go. Item 14, budget hearing. There's a couple things here. There's one that's a budget hearing for the general public to speak on anything that we have within the budget that's been posted. and then there's an item 15, for elected officials to come up during the budget workshop. So this one is the budget hearing. So if anybody, would like to comment on the budget that we filed, on the 15th of August of this month, or just to come up and say something about the budget that we have, this would be the time for open comments, if anybody needs to come up or wants to come up.
My turn again. Lori Reyes again. I know you've already set aside some money for fire
Yes,
on the
ma'am.
north side. It's very important. Just a week and a half ago, I called in a brush fire on the side of Highway 90. Someone threw out a cigarette in front of me, and it took 18 minutes for response time. Luckily, the wind wasn't crazy that day, and it was blowing towards a gravel parking lot, but it did burn up to the fence line. And
Yes, ma'am.
so it didn't get huge, but it's very, very important. And people losing their homeowner's insurance, having to pay a lot more. So I know you're already thinking about it, but please,
No,
please.
it's, one comment. This court, with the budget that's been in there and what we've done, we set aside $980,000. Probably not going to be enough, but we're in the process September 5th to go visit with individuals on a grant. Carlos Velarde is looking at another opportunity for a grant, but it'll get us going in the right direction. There's also money in this budget for capital for a water truck. It's not going to be a brand new water truck, but enough to purchase a used water truck that will be under a CDL that anybody can drive versus, and that's was answer to your question, how come the big truck, they can't drive it, they don't have a CDL. So we're going to try to purchase a water truck that is 2,000 gallons versus a 4,000 gallon in order that anybody can drive it, anybody with a regular license. There's also money in this budget to
Why
buy.
does it require a CDL? Our departments are exempt, volunteer fire departments
Well-
are exempt from CDL requirements.
Not according to George. So we'll look into it again. Okay. Juanita.
Is the building that's out on Highway 90, is that owned
It's not
by the
gonna,
county?
it
or
is, but it's
rented?
not gonna be big enough.
I
It's
realize
a
that.
two-bay deal, and it's sitting on a 1 acre tract. And we're gonna have to decide where we're gonna put it. I think if we got it closer to 277, and SL 79 would be better than way out there because we still have to service
Right,
Valverde
it is
Park.
big.
And it's close enough to Las Brisas area, close enough to Valverde Park and Escondido, but we can't leave the fire station in Cinegas unmanned. This budget, we've added, Jesus Christ, 2 or 3, I'm confused. But it's either 2 or 3 more firemen, full-time. And the court last year had added more money for part-time people during last year's budget. I did cut it about 10,000 just for the simple reason that they didn't use it. They didn't use it, and adding the more positions that helped to try to pay for this. So right now, we have money set aside for a fire station. We have more firemen and money for another vehicle, like a 5,500, 1.5 ton or 2 ton truck, in order to put another tank on it, like a brush truck. The problem with in the area that y'all live, George put in there for a pumper truck. A pumper truck does not do any good. A regular fire truck doesn't do it because of the fire hydrants. So, bottom line is, he needs to show up. This court 2 years ago, ended up purchasing a brush truck, a brand new brush truck with about a 750 gallon water tank. It's not enough water for a house, but with the water truck showing up from the different precincts hooked up to that, we don't need to hook up to a fire hydrant. So that's the plan.
Understand. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, my God.
All good. My name is Sandra Fuentes. I'm co-chair of the board organization. And if I read the proposed budget correct in my conversation with you, Judge Owens, this court and especially you need to be commended for your efforts in bringing not only hourly wage earners up a little bit, but especially I think the challenge was for the sheriff's deputies. And given, I think it was a 8.3 increase for anyone that's not in patrol, is significant for now. They're still behind. But for those deputies that are on patrol, that because of the state mandated put us in a financial crunch. I think that this court, and especially you, found a way to bring them up, so there would be a big disparity between the mandate for new deputies and those that have been working there for 8 to 10 years. So you should be commended for that. And if I understood the proposed budget correct, the elected officials will not be getting an increase. Stop me if I'm wrong here. I don't want to say
You're
anything that, okay, that's correct. And that is just a breath of fresh air for this community, because sometimes we do forget about the hourly wage earners or deputies or people that work in the office. And I think this county for several years now have been, I guess, on the top echelon of elected officials as far as salaries were concerned, so that you can put the brakes on for a little bit for now. Therefore, this court and you in particular, Judge Jones, should be commended for that.
And I appreciate that, but at the end of the day, it's always a team effort.
Correct.
I will tell you, I'm going to get done with the hearing, and then we'll go into the budget workshop. Is there anybody else that would like to speak within the budget hearing? No? Okay, I don't know what time it is. 6:21. We're going to go ahead and close the budget hearing. We're going to go to item 15, budget workshop. I will tell you that within the salaries, both the commissioners that are here right now, and I spoke to the other two, but the commissioners that are here today would like to do more. The last meeting, Commissioner Nettleton wanted to do the 30,000, anybody below 30,000. And the conversation the last couple of days with Commissioner Flores and again with Commissioner Nettleton is that we need to do more for our employees, especially the employees that are $30,000 or $50,000 below. I was counting right before I came here. I think we've got 288 employees by the sheet that we were giving on the longevity sheet, about 288. Of those, about 214 are at the 50,000 or below. Number might be a little bit, but that's what I came up with right before I came. I don't know what this court's going to do. We've had the conversation that we need to do more, and the commissioners, especially these two right here, have been real vocal on that. I've asked, and with Commissioner Nettleton, with the conversation that I had him, because he'd like to have everybody above the 30,000, nobody making under 30,000 or 30,000 or above. I bumped up the base pay 5%, which we were at 26. One of the lowest ones was 26.8 something. I'm rounding numbers, but it's about 26.8 with the 5% and this and that. I'm within a couple hundred, the fiscal year 25-26. With another 4 or 5% raise, I'm within a couple hundred of whoever's going to be below that at that time of getting them there. We're closer than trying just to get the people at 30,000 below the 30,000, above the 30,000. So, I've asked. I don't know what the court's going to do if they could give us 2 years. This fiscal year, we're fixing to go in 24-25, and then the fiscal year 25-26. Commissioner Flores has asked, what are we doing for the people 50,000? That would take care of people under 30 also. I had a really hard time this year, and we've done it before. Juanita sent me a breakdown. We've even done a couple of times while we've been here a stair step, and I think that's what they've talked about, a 5-4-3, 5% below 35,000, and then 4%, 35 to 50, whatever those numbers were. And I had a really hard time with that this year because everything that we've been through in the last several years. When I looked at the people that were making right at 100,000 or more, and to give them even a 4% or 3%, I had a hard time with that. There's a certain amount of people that I have contact with on a daily basis that are making just an ungodly amount of money. But I could not bring myself this year to lower them to a 3% versus a 5%. I couldn't do it. And I've talked to quite a few of them in the last 2 days, and I've told them that next year, because of what they want, it'll be put in my budget. Again, I don't know what they're gonna do this year with the budget, but it will happen next year where we're gonna stair step it, to where the bottom end gets more money than the top end. All right, but this year I just couldn't do it. And, you know, it's public record, so I don't mind saying it. Matt, Carlos, Ram, Melissa, and I'm not throwing y'all under the bus because we've had these conversations with you. And Juanita, I don't know what in the heck I'd do without him. I just, and for me to cut that rate even by 1 or 2%, I couldn't do it this year. But the conversation that we had earlier today, it's probably coming. I just couldn't do it this year for the simple reason that, again, it's just a lot. It's a lot that they do for us. We've gone through a lot of money through ARPA, through the money we've borrowed. We've been through a lot of money. And our auditor and our purchasing agent, all the POs go through them. But that money, by the end of this year, most of it's going to be gone, hopefully. So those POs ain't going to be coming. One of the things that I'd like to present, and hopefully this helps a little bit, is that through longevity, because we were not giving raises, and again, we have 2 of the commissioners here, these 2 that have been the most vocal about giving more money to the people $50,000 and $30,000 or below. All right. So we gave in the longevity $100 for the first year, and the way that works is the cutoff date is the end of September this year, which is the end of our fiscal year. If you've been here and you have a full year at the end of September, then you're going to get $100. If you have anything more years based on the end of September, then you'll get $40 a year thereafter for the years that you have. And I'm going to take a little bit of time, if y'all will allow me, to explain that, because we've had people calling that I left, I got fired, I quit, whatever. I was with y'all 12 years, and I came back 2 years ago. Do my 12 years count? No, they don't count. You left. You retired. I'm not going to do it. Now, the court can change their mind, but in the what I put in there, no, the answer is no. And I'm not going to move it, and I don't think we should, but again, it's the court decision. Move it out to November, December, because it still gives us time to figure out who's here at the end of September. And then you get a check in December if you're still here in December. This money will be paid. So you can't come back and say, I've been here 12 years, I was here 12 years before, and then now I'm here a year, pay me my 12 years plus a year. It don't work like that. One of the things that I've asked them is if it would help them, the 2 commissioners, if instead of $100 for the first year, and this is longevity pay, this is a one-time check. And the reason I'm stressing that is because it's not a recurring expense. We don't pay it forward the following year, and we can give it a one lump sum in December versus over 26 pay periods, where, you take it $500 and stretch it out over a pay period. By the time they take taxes, you end up with $13 or whatever. It ain't worth it. So, we're in the budget workshop right now. I would ask that if we went to $500 for the first year, and then $40 a year every year thereafter, based on the same calculations that we had, it's going to add another 100, and I'm going to round it out. It's going to add another $120,000 to our budget, but it would help those individuals that have been here a full year. It'd give them a $400 bump, and it would be in December versus over a period of time that amounts to a heck of a whole lot of nothing once you take away 25-30%. And it would help the county budget because it's not a reoccurring expense. So if y'all don't mind, we can think about it, bring it back in 2 weeks. if that's what y'all want.
I'll make a motion to bump it to 500 for the first year. Or do y'all want to wait until everybody's here?
I'd like to wait
All right.
and have a full court.
Okay. All right. Is there anybody else? We're at the budget workshop process. Is there any elected officials that are here in the audience that would like to make comments or come up and we're not happy with their budget? We're happy with their budget, I don't care. We good? Yeah, there's nobody on there.
Matt's on there.
Matt's on there. I said elected officials.
Nah.
Well,
I think it's imperative, as I've visited with the judge, that we move these bottom end people up. It's, in my opinion, almost impossible to make a living at $27,000 a year. We do a lot on the top end because the 5% means a lot when you're $70,000, $80,000, $100,000. The 1,500 on the bottom end is small. I know it's going to take some time to get there, but as we did with SO, we need to start that process. The other issue I got is I had asked Matt to send me a list of the departments and elected officials that did not submit a budget for their special funds. There's a lot of them, but yet they still have a budget in here because Matt or the judge took it and divided it between 3 or 4 line items. As y'all have heard me for many, many times, we spend $300,000–400,000 in budgets on travel and training, which I think is just completely ridiculous. I think these departments that refused to submit a budget for their special fund should be zeroed out, and they should have to come stand before this court and ask for their money. I have done this every single year, and we still have departments that don't submit a budget for their special funds. I don't think it's right that we create a budget, and in some of these that didn't submit, when you look at the numbers, the amount of money that we had to put to divide the revenues up, those are monies that can use to offset payroll in some cases, they can be used to offset capital in some cases, they can be used for, and each fund is different, don't misunderstand. Instead of putting the entire burden back on the general fund and the taxpayers. So I believe that these departments that didn't, and there's quite a few of them on here that belong to Commissioner's Court, which is what we're doing right now. Setting the budget, so we're setting those budgets based off of those deals, but there are quite a few that didn't, and I won't go into each department that didn't, but some of those funds are pretty hefty that didn't bother to submit a budget. I would like to see us zero those expenditures out and make them come back before this court when they want their money. That's my personal opinion, but if y'all want to wait till we have a full court, then we can wait till we have.
well, let's do this. I'll get with Matt and we'll get together and look through what I received of the packets from the elected officials. We'll go through there and send a letter to every one of the departments that did not submit for their special accounts and have them submit it. Our next budget workshop is in 2 weeks from today. If they don't submit it at that time, then we'll take action.
Judge, how many departments are we talking about that didn't turn in
There's a list of them, and some of them have different accounts and only turned in one and something.
Not including ours, which we're doing right now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
There's about 35, Commissioner.
35.
35.
Wow.
And when you say,
And do you happen to know off the top of your head what that
Again,
equates to in
some of
dollars?
it can only be spent on one thing.
Do what?
So, like courthouse security can only be spent on one thing.
No, I understand that.
So,
And the ones that are under Commissioner's Court control, that's what we do as part of the budget process. So I'm not necessarily counting those. Those are decisions the
Okay.
court makes. I think there's like 13 or 14 other elected officials that did not submit a budget for their special fund. I do not know the total amount of what that equates to in revenue, or expenditures off the top of my head, but, as an elected official, you have an obligation for the funds that are given to you. You need to submit a budget on how they're gonna be spent and not just whatever the judge or you decide, just so that we can have an expenditure line item. That's what we think it needs to be spent on.
Right, now, the majority of the votes are to that. So,
It's getting harder here. Let's do this. We will send something out this week. We'll go through the packets that I received and the packets that were sent to y'all and figure out which line item by line item, because we have grants, we have special funds, we'll just go through there one by one. We'll send an email to every elected official and department head that has special funds and ask them to put a budget together. And within 2 weeks, you got 2 weeks to do it. Bring it back. And just for clarity, when we say zeroed out, we're not going to take the money. You're going to have to come, and when you have an expenditure for every account, it's not going to be as easy as putting it in the budget and preparing a budget. Because at that point, then the court's going to decide yes or no on the ones that we have a legal right to decide yes or no.
It would bring it to your attention the court for approval.
Yeah.
I think that'd be the best way to control that. I mean,
Well, there's
Turning
certain
in a
funds,
budget.
there's certain funds that we don't tell them yes or no on.
oh yeah, I know.
Or no.
No, but they're still obligated by
Prepare a
statute
budget.
to prepare a budget and present for us to approve. We can't tell them how to spend the money, I get that part, but they're still obligated to the budget process under the statute and all of the requirements of purchasing and everything else, not just, I'm not gonna submit it, so Matt will put some numbers together and whatever, and then I'll transfer shit around when I decide I wanna do something different.
Yes, ma'am.
I was wondering, Commissioner Nelson, could you elaborate a little bit on your comment about, training and travel? How does that tie in with, the department heads that did not turn in?
Basically what happens is they didn't turn in a budget. Matt or the judge take it and divide it amongst several different line items evenly, and one of those line items is travel and training. So let's say they had $100,000 and there's 3 line items, they just divide it by 3 and each line item gets what that is. Or 4 line items, each would get $25,000. But it doesn't mean they spent the money, which is why every single agenda you see us with, I want to move money from travel and training to office. I want to move money from travel and training to this. I want to move money. If you would have submitted a budget and told us what you wanted for it to start with, we wouldn't spend all of our time moving money around. It is an obligation of an elected official to prepare and submit a budget to the judge. Whether we can tell them what to do with it or not is irrelevant. They still have to follow the budget process.
And the accounts that he's talking about are the special accounts, and we have our budget, just for clarity. Jesus Christ, where are my glasses?
They're all in the back of the budget. There's a whole bunch of special funds.
We have a capital budget, we have special revenue, and then we have grant funds. And those are the special funds that special line items for different elected officials, different departments.
And each one of those has requirements of what you can use it for and what you can't use it for. Some of those line items allow them to use it to give their employees additional funds for payroll. In order for us to keep the tax rate at a reasonable amount, that's the purpose of these funds, is to help offset those costs. So instead of coming and asking the taxpayers to do it, when you're sitting there with $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $800,000 in special funds and asking the taxpayers to pick up the tab for it, in my opinion, it's not right. If you have the authority and you have the ability to use those funds to help with the areas that you need, office furniture, whatever it can be used for, then utilize it. That's the whole purpose of having those funds. Don't just stick it here and I mean, there's some of these that, well, I mean, I'll let y'all go through it. It's pretty outrageous in my opinion.
And this is the same conversation we've had every year for.
I've been having it for 20 years. I've had an issue with it for 20 years, and we continue to do the same thing. And I'm not opposed to travel and training, that's not the purpose, but most of this money doesn't get used for those purposes, then let's use it for the purposes it's intended, so that the general fund doesn't have to pick up the tab for it, which is the taxpayers. This is money on fines and fees and state funds, and I mean, there's a lot of other places, that's the whole purpose of this. This court, the taxpayer shouldn't have to pick it up if you're sitting there with the dollars to do it.
Can I ask a question?
Mhm.
I submitted my budget, and then I submit the one for election. And that one is actually two of them. It's the contract services and the other one that the county has. But then I also have records management and records archive and preservation.
And those are the ones that
Y'all
he's
want
talking
those two that y'all
Yes,
are talking about?
And that's what he's
Okay, I
talking
didn't
about.
know to do that. Because those were in the checking account at the Bank of Trust, and then I moved them.
Yeah, and I don't know, again, those, if there is a,
It
just to be
says you
clear,
submitted a records management prevention fund budget. And you submitted a elections budget.
Yeah.
And you submitted a records archive fund budget.
So am I missing anything?
No, I mean, not that I know of.
Good.
I didn't want to go through the list, I mean.
We're gonna make it through the next 2 weeks.
The departments that didn't know who they are.
and what we'll do is we'll go through and send them a list. Okay, get them on a list, send them an email, and ask them to prepare a budget. That work?
That works for me.
Okay. Budget workshop, under budget workshop, we're still there. You have any questions? No. We're good? Okay. Is there anybody else under budget workshop? Okay. We'll end that discussion. We'll go on to set salaries for elected officials. The salaries that we presented and the salaries that we presented 2 weeks ago and the salaries that we published, are the salaries, or the same salaries from the previous year. It's the same thing that we.
Motion to approve is presented with no increases in the elected officials.
Okay.
Can I ask a question on that?
In just a minute. I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. Yes, ma'am.
Well, so I didn't get a raise last year. I refused to raise this year.
You didn't get a raise.
I didn't get a raise.
You have agreements
Will that
committee.
go to my employees again?
And I've had a couple of people say that just give it back to them again. You can't do that because you already gave it to them once.
Oh, that's what you
Yes,
said.
yeah. I mean, it isn't like you can give them the same amount of money back again. It doesn't work like that because you already gave it to them and that's a recurring expense.
Okay, so the money that I'm not getting this year.
It was in their salary this year, so it remained in their salary.
Part of that is what's covering the cost of the 5% pay increases across the board.
But
Had we added the elected officials, it would have probably cost us another, what, 100,000?
yeah, right at it with French.
So,
In your case, because last year you said, don't give me a raise, divide it. We divided it. That's a reoccurring expense. Therefore, that raise, I can't give it to you again because I've already given it to the employees. And they're going to get it every year. Mhm. And that's a conversation we've had.
Okay.
That clarify?
Yes,
See,
ma'am. Thank you.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. Any questions? All those in favor?
Right.
Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 17, discussion possible action on approving the following applicants for septic aerobic systems to be funded out of ARPA Fund, 454 Shumla Street, 300 Ozona Street, 487 Shumla, 378 Ozona Street, all in Comstock,
Motion to
Texas.
approve.
Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, do I have a second?
I'll second that for discussion. How much of this,
They're gonna end up,
costing?
let me get that, you got the sheet. They're gonna end up, using where sewer infrastructure is, the 67,800. They're gonna end up using all 67,000, in order to do the septic systems, yes. If they have a little bit of money left over, by the time they get done, he'll bring it back in order to go do more septic systems. And when you look at, we have another item on the agenda here in a minute for public health, under Melissa for AEDs. let's do this.
Judge, I've got a question. Septic systems, how do you base the qualification? Who qualifies for?
We ended up giving that to Rob. We took a vote and ended up giving it to.
I remember that. I mean, I'm just
He's the
wanting to
one.
know. 'cause, I mean,
Him and Carl, go out and check and see, they had a list, so they've gone out and qualified them with the list that we gave them, or with the recommendations that were given. But Rob Stevenson, we ran it through them, so we wouldn't have to do it.
so it's gotta be somebody living there.
Yes.
Not,
No, it can't be a home. As a matter of fact, we had issues the last time, because even some of the ones that were picked the last time, there was not enough area on the property to do the septic systems, even if it was an aerobic. So some of these people, a couple of these, ended up removing, buildings and ended up removing a part of a barn or something in order to be able to fit the septic system on that property. Huh?
ranch septic system or what?
No, it's.
Real barn is it?
No, well, because one lady had, almost the whole property was covered. And another family there had the house, had a carport, had another little building in the back. So at that point, we could not help them unless they removed stuff on top of the surface, because there was no place to put a tank. So there was two of these that came back, that now they removed system, and this was on Comstock. So when it comes to the ARPA money, they will use every bit of the sewer infrastructure for sewer. There might be a little bit left over, but I'd almost bet they're gonna use it all.
So the whole $237,000 was spent there in Comstock?
It was over, I don't know whether it was all spent on Comstock, because I don't remember the meetings, but I do know that it was spent on septic systems and infrastructure for the systems. And that balance that's over all the way to the right-hand side is what the balance is on that account that was set up by the court. There's another item on there for public health under Melissa for AEDs, that $57,653. And there's an item 30. Well, let's do one thing at a time. Is there anything else on that one? And what we'll do is, when we get the invoice for this, we'll bring it back, because we told y'all we would get you a list on that, and then we would bring it back the first meeting, bring it back. I can't remember whether the first one is September or October, but, we will bring you back totals.
Okay.
You sure? Okay. All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 18 we did. Item 19, discussion possible action to approve funds for KDOK fourth annual border pit battle that will be held on October 4th and 5th. They wanted money out of the hot tax.
How much?
4,000. No, they wanted 10. I told them no way. So I told them.
Motion to approve the 4,000.
All right. Have a motion.
I'll second it. They understand this has to be used to advertise
Yes,
outside of
outside,
building.
yes. I have a motion, Commissioner Flores, second, Commissioner Nettleton. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This is the second time they've come.
Yes,
to the
that they've come to
court,
us.
so they know the process.
They know the process, and they turn in a bill. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 20, discussion possible action to accept $500 donation for the 2023 Back to School event from Middle Rio
Motion to
Grande.
approve.
Second.
And this was actually put in a fund, and then Juanita's the one that went out with the school district to spend. I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 21, discussion possible act to vote to approve interlocal agreement for Val Verde County Justice of the Peace Courts to continue to participate in the Omni driver's license.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 22, discussion possible action on Texas Water Development Board flood infrastructure.
Motion to approve.
I'll second that for discussion. What are we doing here?
We're extending it because we haven't,
The what now?
We haven't,
we're extending,
we picked this, they gave us grant, and the grant was part of a loan, then we're paying the loan, no interest loan, but they're paying it back with the money that they gave us to put up a tower for flood. It would be in precinct 3. We decided on one spot. That's where the grant was supposed to be. The thing is, though, that we're trying to move it to where it would be more effective in case there's a flood. It would alert us.
Okay.
Is that right?
yes.
Pretty close.
It's just, we need to do an amendment to extend the time to,
Yeah.
the deadline is already.
And this was money that they gave us, they lent us the money, we paid it back with the money they gave us, it's just all over the place.
It's weird.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 23, discussion possible action to allow the use of the county stage for Del Rio, PTSD awareness
Motion
event.
to approve.
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 24, discussion possible action.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion, Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Nettleton. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Discussion possible action to implement a curfew at Long Memorial Park from 10 PM to 6 AM and to proceed with the installation of curfew signs.
Motion to approve. This is just to make sure people understand the park does close at 10 o'clock.
Have a motion, Commissioner
I'll second
Nettleton.
that, but I've got a question.
Second Commissioner Flores.
You know, a lot of people don't respect signs. I mean, how do you control this? I mean, how do you control this?
Well, I mean, at that point, with this order, the sheriff's office has the right to remove them if they are there beyond the time that is necessary. Whether it will get done or not, I don't know. We'll see.
Nobody respects speeding signs.
Here's your sign.
Yeah. And you're right. I mean, it's just a way to give us a little bit more authority to go do something. Are y'all okay? Motion and a second.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 26, discussion possible action to approve and authorize the county judge to sign the renewal upgrade of a 5-year contract with Spectrum for.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 27, discussion possible action to approve a budget adjustment from capital expenditures to building maintenance capital outlay for $67,000 to purchase materials for Lozoya Street. This is money that we had in our capital, in this fiscal year's capital outlay. And there was $67,000.
This is to fix the parking lot.
It's to fix the parking lot.
This is leftover money.
Motion to
No, no,
approve.
no, no. It was
That
actually
was
budgeted.
allocated.
It was already allocated, yes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Discussion possible action to approve a total amount of, well, I'm gonna read it, so give me a minute.
Okay.
Total amount of $196,906.06 from ARPA Parks and Fairgrounds account to purchase materials for paving parking lot. Now, Alcoa Soccer APR Parks and Fairgrounds account has a total of $156,060.70, leaving a difference of $40,845.99 to be paid out of available appropriations.
You have
There's only
$156.
$156,060 in that account. I think that we can get close to doing it using the base material that's still left out on SL 79 versus using this other stuff.
But you got $47,000 in the soccer field under ARPA. According to this sheet.
I'm
The
looking.
soccer field 47 and then Parks and Fairgrounds 156.
There is.
Yeah, yes. And we could do that. If that's what y'all want to do, that'd take care of it.
Yeah, soccer field 47.
Yeah. If you want to put both of them together, and then if there's
Make
money
a
left.
motion to approve using both the Parks and Fairgrounds, $156,060, and the soccer field, $47,547.
And that's the last conversation we had 2 weeks was to fix the parking lot and to do from the asphalt, where the asphalt stops, going back to the creek or to the irrigation ditch, do all that with crush base and pave that whole area, that 3 acres. So that'd take care of all that.
I'll
And-
second that. Judge, I've got a question. Base material on L79? Or what are you talking about?
There's still a little bit of material out on SL 79 that might be able to be used for this in order to lower the cost
You mean that pile that's been out there for,
forever. There might be a little bit, there was a little bit.
one you cut in half?
Ain't cutting it in half. Did you need something? Do you need something?
Too far away from me. Too far.
See, no, I know.
Too far away. Too far away.
I owe you 300 tons.
You owe me more than
I owe you
that.
300 tons. Yeah. The next 300 tons are yours, Commissioner, okay?
Sounds fair.
Okay. All right, did you get that? I have a motion and I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 29, discussion possible action to approve, fuel bid. There was no bids received. What am I approving? It's
Right, well,
listed
just
wrong.
that y'all are just approving that no bids received. So I can
So
go
we're
out
gonna
and
go back
rebid.
out for rebid. You need a motion to go back out.
Nobody bid
I
on the
did.
fuel?
No.
Motion to authorize you to go back out for bids for fuel.
Second.
A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
And if you
Aye.
don't get any,
Huh?
we go to Walmart and pick them up.
I think we'll get one.
Okay, this is another thing of the ARPA.
Yeah.
Discussion possible action to approve the purchase of 8 AEDs for $15,912 from the ARPA Public Health Account. Locations for AEDs are Alcoa Soccer Fields, Fairgrounds, County Agent, Federal's Office, CAT Building, Satellite Library, and 2-4 Fire Department.
I thought we were getting some for all of the precincts too.
We did, and they're all installed
We already got them all.
at all the precincts, yes.
All right, motion to approve.
Second.
All right, I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. And there is gonna be a balance after all this of 41,000 in that one account. Still.
We'll keep an eye on it.
Okay. Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? I even wrote it down to tell you, that way in case you know I got questions. I got it right here. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. And I'm sorry I got my chair turned, but he's the only one here, so it's just easier. Item 31, discussion possible action for approval to declare the following item surplus. See attached.
Motion to approve. Second.
Have a motion, Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Nettleton. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 32, discussion possible action on approval to enter contract with the City of Del Rio for election services for special election.
Second.
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 33, discussion possible action
Motion
on
to
approval.
approve.
Second.
A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 34, discussion possible action on appointment of election day judge and alternate judge for
Motion to
Comstock.
approve. You have the list?
I don't have any.
Okay.
What happened is that the ones that were there ended up being related to people that were gonna end
Two
up
of
being
them.
on the Comstock school board election, so they couldn't serve.
Okay, I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. And if you please get us a list just to make sure that we're okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Item 35, discussion possible action to approve the
Motion
official.
to approve A, B, and C.
Second.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. The names on the bonds were being corrected.
They already worked, there's a rider attached.
Okay, so we're good. Okay, I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 36, discussion possible action for approval of lease between Valverde County.
Second.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 37, discussion possible action for approval lease between Valverde County and Sensory Friendly Trunk and Treat on behalf of
Motion to approve. Are we charging them for this or not?
The lease on the 4, there is a dollar amount. The lease on number 37, it's up to you. We didn't the last time.
I will.
You make it.
You make the motion.
I made the motion to approve.
This
This is the way we did it last year.
Okay, we did not charge you. Okay.
Second accept.
I have a motion, Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Nettleton. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 38, discussion possible action on approving the use of the fairgrounds parking lot reserves.
Charge him.
Huh?
Charge him.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 39, discussion possible action, for the approval between
Motion
Valverde
to
County.
approve.
Is there gonna be a charge on this, or?
It should be if it's a standard lease.
Veterans Day, yeah, because it's not a benefit. I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 40, discussion possible action, author county judge submit and certify the text dot
Motion to
GIS.
approve.
Second.
A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores.
Before we move on, did anybody gain any miles or lose any miles? I mean, we're going real quick on this stuff.
I've got it somewhere. 38, gained 38 miles, I think.
From where?
Huh?
Where?
He gained 38 miles.
Where? I mean, I know, but where, what
In,
miles?
the Lake Ridge area, the Lake Ridge area, and the Kelly Ranch, and all the subdivisions that were done in his area. Or not, let me find it. I know I wrote it down. It's in the yellow paper. Yeah. He gained 36 point, well, I'll go over the list. Precinct 1, lost a mile and change. Precinct 2 lost 1.88 miles after they measured everything. Precinct 3 gained 36.18 miles. Precinct 4 lost 54.97 miles.
Lake Ridge, I mean, it's an old subdivision, I mean, and we're just barely adding that to the list.
The numbers, the last numbers that we presented to TxDOT, precinct 1 was at 31.78. What they just got done doing, Carlos and Elizabeth and part of Carlos's department, they measured 30.02 miles. The last time that we submitted a road log, precinct 2 was at 83 miles. Now they're at 81.12 miles. Okay. Precinct 3 was at 102.34 miles. And when they took into consideration all the miles that he has, he came up with 138.52 miles. And precinct 4, the last time that we submitted something to the state of Texas was 165.7 miles. And now it's 110.73 miles. And these are based on what we submitted to the state the last time, according to Elizabeth, and what we submitted to the state, what we're going to submit to the state. As soon as we get done with this, Carlos is going to submit this because it needs to be submitted before Friday.
Precinct 4, only in Palmville and Lantry, they've got over 40 miles of county road.
And we went over all the miles with every commissioner in a meeting with Elizabeth and with Carlos. And they're the ones that measured every mile. So the meeting that we sat in with you, we went, and we even talked about every road. And they Googled Earthed it. They went through Google Earth and they did that. They did it 2 or 3 times doing that. So I will tell you that with what we submitted to the state, according to Elizabeth, those were the miles that I just said before, and this is what we're submitting this afternoon or in the morning as soon as Carlos can enter it. All the roads that are within Valverde County have already been submitted on the state's website. All we need is permission from the court to be able to hit enter and say that they're correct. But Elizabeth and Carlos and myself sat with every commissioner and went with every road that was of concern to we even remeasured them in your precinct. Or now we sat there and they measured a bunch of them that you had concerns.
It looks like my road shrunk.
Huh?
It looks like my road shrunk.
Well, I'm not even going to get into that. I can show you that. Yeah,
That's okay.
okay. Okay. All I need is permission to be able to submit it. And I had a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 41, discussion possible action authorizing Sheriff Joe Frank Martinez to adopt a medical and physical, without examination.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead, which is the one that I tore up in Escondido.
make him say it.
Yeah. I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Jesus Christ. Item 42.
Motion to approve the same
Same
license.
thing. I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton,
Second.
second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Sheriff, why don't you come back up here? That way you, I should have said it before. Oh, you know what? Don't worry about it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna go, if she put it on here. She did. I'm gonna go to item 50, county judge's comments. We had a little bit of scare this morning, on Lisa, somewhere in the 600 block of Lisa. Mountain lion, probably 2.5 feet at the shoulders. They caught him on camera about 1 o'clock, caught him on camera still in the yard, probably about 6 o'clock. We were notified later, in the morning, that it had been there. So we need to be careful in Valverde Park in that area. Sheriff, if you don't mind, to give us an update.
Yeah, so we put out an advisory earlier today, just warning the residents of Valverde Park Estates of a mountain lion sighting that was confirmed, was caught on video. The individual didn't know what it had in their yard till she shared that picture with another county employee who showed it to a deputy, and he's familiar with what it was. And so we dispatched animal control and deputy to the area. Weren't able to find any tracks in the area, but there is video evidence that it was in the yard. They worked till about noon. We got the USDA trapper on board. They're working together. Since then, there's been 3 calls to the office of unconfirmed sightings throughout the community, some in the city, and others by the cemetery. But those are unconfirmed reports.
And I guess also, it's not a ghost, it's real.
It's real.
So I think we had comments on that they'd seen a ghost.
It's inside the neighborhood. Is he general or what?
Well, I think people don't understand what it was.
Yes.
So we did have some calls that they'd seen a ghost. It's not a ghost, it's a mountain lion. And please, call the sheriff's office, call 911 as soon as you see it, and we'd appreciate the phone calls.
Yeah. And our concern was for the safety of the kids that are waiting for a school bus in the morning, that early, that it's around at those hours, just to make the citizens aware so they can watch their children. We've also, we'll have animal control in the area, or in that area tomorrow morning, just to make sure everything rolls off smooth.
And just for clarification, when you say animal control, like today it was animal control, but it wasn't the animal control truck. It was the sheriffs that are assigned to animal control.
It's a sheriff's deputy assigned to include animal control personnel.
Yeah. So it isn't, just for clarity, it wasn't that, it was also the animal control truck, but you had deputies that are assigned to animal control that were also patrolling when I went out.
Yes.
You could hire the cat for animal control.
We good. Item 43, we've already taken care of. Can we set the holiday and pay schedule, or do y'all wanna bring it back? Huh?
I'm ready to set it, but it's up to them.
Okay. We'll read it. Discussion possible action to approve holiday and pay schedule for fiscal year 24-25.
I'll make a motion to approve the holidays as we had this year, and the pay schedule to be the same as it was.
We'll have a second. Second. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 45, discussion possible action on approval to authorize Juanita Barrera, HR Director, to accept safety equipment from 2020.
Motion to approve.
Second. I have a motion, Commissioner Middleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 46, discussion possible
Motion
action.
to approve, President.
I have a motion, Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Middleton. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Item 47, discussion possible action authorizing the
Motion
date.
to approve their policy again.
Yeah, that one. I have a motion, Commissioner Middleton, second Commissioner Flores.
I want you to read it
No,
all.
I'm not reading it. No, I'm not reading it. All those in favor? Aye. Item 48, closed session consultation pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071, parentheses 2, attorney-client privilege, B, 551.071, parentheses 1, parentheses 8, contemplate litigation. C, 551.072, regarding the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property and possible action, open session thereafter. D, 551.073, regarding a negotiated contract, lease, or value of real property and possible action thereafter. E, 551.076, regarding security devices, security audit, and/or security personnel. Folks, if y'all will give us the room, we're gonna take a little 2-3 minute break, and then we're gonna go into executive session. Thank you so much. Been here 6 years and your eye ain't come on yet. That's not right.
I didn't say it.
All right, we're back in session. It is 8:03. Somewhere like that. Took longer than what we thought it was gonna take. No action was taken in executive session. And nothing was tabled that we need to go back to. Item 49, commissioners' comments. None. Item 50, judges' comments, definitely none. Item 51,
Motion to adjourn.
have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton.
Second.
I'm gonna wait.
Second.
Get mad at me.
I can walk out and you won't have a second. You'll stay here all night. Until tomorrow
But
somebody shows up.
You did second this one.
This one I
Okay, he got mad.
Little late.
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion carries 3-0. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you all so much.